What should we do with the All-Star game? Leave it. It's fine. Change the format. Increase the incentive or cancel it entirely.
I don't know. And I get why everyone's pissed, right? 972 to 934. Like, I understand. Like, there's no defense played, but we do this all the time.
We do this every year with this game.
We do it every year with this game. We do it with the Pro Bowl. It still gets 6 million people that watch it.
But the Pro Bowl's gone now. They abandoned it.
They abandoned it.
Should they do that here?
And they did. This one, the NBA All-Star game, actually drew better than the Pro Bowl games. Mm-hmm. And normally the Pro Bowl game did better than the Pro Bowl games when they actually did the actual game.
Right.
I would get like 8 million people. The games where they just did like the sand football and all that, I think it got like 5.4. The NBA All-Star game did 5.7. I don't understand why we have to make this something other than just a weekend event. Like, it makes money. Mm-hmm. People want to be a part of it. It sells out, right? People want to host it. I don't see any city not wanting to have the All-Star game. We'd love to have it here in Portland. We can't have it. Yep. But everywhere it goes, it ends up being a big deal. All the celebrities go there. It's a big party. The guys don't give a damn about it. And if you want to watch it, cool. But like I hear Stephen A. and then these guys that come on, JJ Redick and Kendrick Perkins, and they're like, this is an abomination. Then don't watch it. Like, I don't understand why we continue to try to make All-Star games into something that they're not. And then we're going to be like, well, back in the day. Cool. The worst argument you can make for anything is one of two things. Either that's the way we've always done it, or it used to be this way. Mm-hmm. Well, cool. In 1974, guys didn't make any money, and guys didn't care. And I'm sure the $10,000 that they got for it in the All-Star game was a big deal. Yeah. But now guys are making $54 million a year, right? They're used to certain luxuries. And yeah, I get it. They're soft and they're a bunch of candy asses. Sure, you can call them all that. But none of that is going to make Giannis decide to go out and play defense. Like, oh, we'll make it $1 million. You think that's going to get those guys to go out and play? It's not. We try all these different things to try to get some juice into this. For Major League Baseball, we tried to make it count for the World Series. Yeah. Like, there's only so much. And even during that,
it didn't work.
It didn't work because at the end of the day, you're still putting everyone in. You're not putting your best lineups
exactly.
in.
It was still an exhibition, and I actually hoped, as a baseball fan, I thought it would be cool if you really played your best 9 and you threw out your best starting pitcher, and everyone played it that way, but they didn't. They treated it as the same exhibition, and then it had stakes on it that in a game that people didn't care.
Yeah, Pete Rose plowing over, I forget who it was.
Ray Fosse. Ended his career, basically.
That ain't happening.
No
one's getting Buster Posey'd in the All-Star game, and I can't blame them for that. So unless you're going to put a gun to someone's head and say, you have to play defense, good luck. So I don't know why we have to do we'll just cancel it then. Why? It's an event. I did not watch a ton of it. And like the NHL All-Star game is probably an NHL All-Star game I like, and the Major League Baseball All-Star game, I usually watch parts of that.
Sure.
I would say baseball I watch more, but I like the hockey skills competition. But we had one of the best players in the NHL this year, Kucherov. He was playing in the skills competition.
I saw this.
I promise you, look that up on YouTube. You will never, and that dude is one of the 4 or 5 best hockey players in the world. You will never see someone give less of an effort than what he put out there.
One of the events he was doing was like a timed speed skating event, and he was going for a Sunday stroll.
And, and so the guy looked like a jackass. But then, again, I have to listen to we should just cancel the event. Why? It was, the dude looked like an idiot. Let him look like an idiot. He didn't care. I still ended up watching. So the only downside to this is, again, people don't necessarily care. It's not getting huge numbers, but until it starts losing money and until people don't want to go and players choose to not attend it, then I just don't know what we're doing here besides pearl clutching and saying it used to be so much better.
So for me, I think that what people want is, and I get that it's easy to just harken back on, well, we liked it better the way it was before, but this year, especially, and I didn't watch a second of it live. I watched plenty of highlights or lowlights of it afterwards, but like it was more that like I've never seen anyone care less. And I think they just want it to be, people want to see the Stars try and be competitive. And even NBA Saturday night, like the All-Star Saturday night with like the 3-point contest, like dudes want to win that. Like dudes care about winning that. Yeah. But that, like, Luka was chucking up 3/4 court shots and in regulation, and people are just doing it. I mean, it was like a bad Harlem Globetrotters exhibition. And you know what? I didn't watch because I knew it was going to be that way. And that's fine. But for the people who wanted to be competitive, Is there anything that could incentivize players to do it differently, or that you could put out there that would make it better?
If you put up a Squid Game sort of, if you put, I don't know,
consequences for losing.
Losing team votes one player to the Pistons.
Well, I did hear one.
There you go, I like that.
I heard one suggestion that losing team has their DMs leaked from from their social media.
If you put up a Squid Game like that ball of cash, but I mean, God, you'd have to put up, because how many guys on a row? They putting like 12, 13 guys,
15, yeah.
So, dude, you got to put up like $50 million. If you put up a big globe of cash at $50 million, and at the end of it dropped, and like you just got to scoop, maybe, but.
I was wondering, because I think the defense is a big problem. Like, any dude is going to be willing to try and take over and like score points, but no one's stopping anybody.
Well, I mean, the only thing I can equate this, because I played in an all-state game, but again, like that's different. The only thing I can equate this to in my whatever pathetic athletic career that I had was maybe spring games, and I'll tell you, the first 2 spring games that I played in, those mattered to me, because I was trying to my freshman year and my redshirt freshman year, I was trying to like, hey, I can do this. Trust me, by the time I got to my 3rd year and I was a starter, guess who didn't give 2 flying Fs about the spring game? This guy. You couldn't, there's nothing you could do. Nothing, because you couldn't pay me. But I mean, that you can't pay the NBA guys. Damian Lillard's making what, $54 million and another $250 from Adidas? LeBron James worth $1 billion. You think, I mean, for God's sakes, what are you going to do to incentivize LeBron?
Right.
Good luck with that. And that was me. Like, there's nothing you could have given me when I was getting ready to play those spring games. And I mean nothing.
Because you can't identify with people in that position.
That's
like,
the
common man's like, well, put $1 million on the table. It doesn't work like that for them.
No, it's like, you think about anything where you haven't been motivated to do it. Like, that happens to me all the time. Like if we're out at a bar and someone's like, this does happen. People like, people like want to arm wrestling me. And I'm like, no. Why not? Because I don't want to. I don't want to get hurt. This is stupid. And there's nothing you can do that's going to make. So when you're in a position of power, why would you ever do that? I mean, I wish it was different. I wish that guys cared. But how on earth are you going to motivate those guys? So accept it for what it is. And it's a weekend where the guys get to hang out. A bunch of celebrities get to go there. They probably sleep with a couple groupies and some Instagram hots. Try to get with Megan Fox or whatever, Ice Spice or whatever celebrity is milling around there. Whatever you're looking for. And you get to rub shoulders. You get to have a party. And that's what the All-Star game has turned into. And sometimes things just change. So if you want to cancel it, fine. But why would you cancel it when, how much money do you think with every sponsor, because when you do tune in, that thing is just one big advertisement. You don't think they make money off of that? You don't think that they love having 6 million people tune into it? So as long as it makes money and people still show up, I don't know it's not going anywhere. No.
Well, I also think the necessity for the players to try is gone, because back in the day, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but in the 70s and 80s, how many games were nationally televised that you actually got to play in, right?
True.
The All-Star game,
exposure.
Yes, it was a big exposure thing, and if you played hard and you did well, and you did well in the dunk contest, it's the same reason why no one's doing the dunk contest anymore. It's because you don't have to do that, because you can go on NBA League Pass and I can watch whatever game I want to. If I'm a diehard Boston Celtics fan and I'm in Portland, I can watch every Boston Celtics game, and I can watch every Boston Celtics game from their home network. So I think a lot of players look at this and go, there's no real upside for me. There was upside back in the day because this was the way to get your name on the map. This was how you got the conversation.
I heard that from baseball guys a lot. Like, if you listen to the old guys that said, for most people, this was the only time, especially if you played in a small market, it's the only time anyone on a national stage was going to get to see you play. And it's not the case. Again, there's a lot of small market guys that are huge. That's a great point, is that there's just,
they don't need the exposure.
They don't need the money. They don't need the exposure. And they're used to a certain level of comfort and taking care of their body that wasn't there 20, 30, certainly 40 years ago. So unless you're going to make guys find a way to get skin in the game. And I don't know how you motivate those individuals. You couldn't do it with the NFL. The NFL gave up. The NFL quit.
Yeah.
The NFL was like, man, we can't do this.
Well, and especially because of the injury aspect. Like, they don't it made sense for the NFL to give that up. And certainly somebody could pop an ACL or an Achilles in this game too if they start trying harder. The risk goes up. And so,
well, people bring up like Summer League. I saw a couple of the talking heads bring up Summer League and all this and that. And the guys still try hard or harder than that.
Well, most of those guys are trying to prove themselves.
It's not in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
You know, like when KD shows up at Rucker Park and they're like, hey, he puts more effort than the All-Star game. Yeah, again, he's playing for pride. It's something away from the season, and he doesn't have to get on an airplane in 48 hours and go play in the middle of an 82-game season. Because ultimately, the only thing that matters in the NBA is winning an NBA championship or being or making an All-Star team or winning an MVP, and there's nothing that happens during that weekend where that you're going to get him. And why does the 3-point contest matter to people? Because there's no risk to it. You just go out and shoot. At a dunk contest, no one wants to look like an ass. No one wants to look like a chump. But, you know, the 3-point contest, it's like it's this little safe little bubble that exists.
Yeah.
And that's the one part of it that people get competitive about and they care.
It's kind of like the perfect competing ground because no one has to put themselves out there too much from a physical standpoint, but you could still really flex. And if you don't do well, you've still got your percentage to fall back on, and you just had an off night.
Yeah.
I think almost the bigger tragedy for the whole All-Star weekend is what has happened over time to the dunk contest, because it used to be the best dunkers were in the dunk contest. And I kind of think it started with LeBron saying, the fact that Jordan always did it or did it as many times as he did. And now you have someone who is supposed to be the next GOAT, and he's never done it once. He had all the physical skill in the world. Like, there should have been something on the table to incentivize all those guys, because I want to see Anthony Gordon out there. I want to see, and if guys are healthy at the All-Star break, and maybe everything's been done at this point, and so there's not a lot of incentive for those guys to put themselves out there and try to do something new because it could flop. But why not just flex that athleticism? I think that contest going away to me is worse than the All-Star game falling apart.
Again, how do I make someone care? Yeah, I mean, when someone answers that question, let me know, and let every corporate boss in the world know, because you'll be worth $8 gajillion. Because getting people to care about something that they don't care about might be the hardest thing in the world. And look, I'll look in the mirror. Dude, you try to get me to do something that I don't care about. Like, I am as bad as anyone on the planet.
Rop's this way too.
Exactly. Rop is phenomenal at this. If Isaac Rop deep down doesn't care, good luck threatening him with anything. I've seen that dude walk out of meetings and just be like, yeah, I'm not interested in this, I'm walking away. And that's where you're at. And they just think this is, you can say it's a societal problem, because I don't think it's an NBA problem. I think it's a societal thing. And you've got guys now that I just don't know how on earth you get them to get buy-in, other than that collectively deciding that they don't want to be embarrassed. But so far, good luck. It didn't work with the NFL, to where they just had to go to the little Pro Bowl game thing, whatever they're doing now.
Yeah.